Mountain of Mirrors, an endless quest book. You decide to trust the tiny voices and take their offer for help. One of the voice crackles again. Over here, duck behind the ice. You slide between the ice clumps and flatten yourself on the ground behind them. Only seconds later, the giant stomps up the staircase past you. Carefully, you stand up and look around, trying to find who saved you. You see nothing but the strange clumps of ice. Where are you? You whisper. We are here, answer many tiny voices. You still can see nothing, but then the strange clumps of ice begin to move. They glide slowly toward you until you are ringed by the strange clumps. They look like ice, but they talk and they move. What can they be? As if reading your mind, the largest knob glides forward, stops directly in front of you, and says, We are the guardians. We have been the keepers of Shanafara from all time. We are elements of the earth. We are here to protect and use wisely the earthen fires your people call diamonds. The guardian continues his story. We hollowed out the mountain and built the great dome and the ice pillar. For centuries we were alone, building and mining and existing peacefully with the nature around us. Then the monsters came, at first only a few, then more and more. They brought death and destruction to our peaceful mountain. They care not for the beauty of earth and fire. They only collect them out of foul greed. They are not satisfied with a portion. They want all Shanafara holds. To accomplish this, they ambush the helpless travelers on the mountain pass and force them to rip our mountain to pieces, mining and cutting for the earth and fire. There is only one way to stop the monsters from destroying our mountain and taking more hapless travelers prisoner. We must destroy Shanafara and begin again. If you are willing to help us, we will help you. If you refuse, we will not help you, and your chances of escaping harm are quite slim. You realize that these guardians are your best chance for survival in the mountain. Guardians, I will gladly help you. Our goals are almost the same. Please tell me how to accomplish your mission. Oh, the way is quite difficult and quite dangerous, says the largest guardian. It will require bravery. You may not survive it. A chill of fear runs down your spine, but you do not speak, and the guardian continues. The pillar is our key. You must bring it down. Once it falls, the mountain will follow, burying all the evil within. After a time of healing, we will once again rebuild our mountain and live in its peace once more. We have used our mirror of souls to read your thoughts. We know you to be both honorable and trustworthy. That is why we will trust you with the mirror of souls, our most precious possession. You hear a cackling sound, and part of the guardian shatters and falls to the frozen ground. Embedded in its body is an enormous diamond, as large as your head. A ray of sun filters down from the dome, and is caught by the huge gem. The light divides into a million bright beams, so bright that you stare at the diamond as though hypnotized. This is the mirror of souls of Shanafara, the most beautiful of the earthen fires. With it, we can look into the hearts and souls of others to see all their strengths and all their weaknesses. We also use it to call other earthen fires to the surface. You must find the way through the mushroom forest, cross the wide silver river, and into the icy cavern by the side of the whirlpool. Travel in the darkness, and try to avoid the many wandering monsters. Then when dawn comes, You must use the mirror of souls to catch the rays of the sun. Direct the beam of light at the pillar. If you can hold it, the ice pillar will melt, and the dome will collapse. Remain in the cavern during this time, and you will be safe. One thing you must promise us. Once you have destroyed the dome, leave the mirror of souls in the cavern. It must remain within Shanafara. You may then leave with our blessing, and the knowledge that you have helped to destroy a reign of evil. Guard the mirror of souls with your life. You are now the last guardian and the last hope. With fumbling fingers, you reach for the gem. It is cold, and it is heavy in your hands. But with great care, you wrap it in a soft blanket and tuck it away in your backpack. You have my word, you promise. I will do my best. If I rid Shanafara of evil, I will also save my own people. Farewell, guardians. Taking a few steps, you turn around to wave goodbye, but all you see is the staircase, the ice wall, and a few clumps of melted ice. The mirror of souls feels heavy on your back. A whispering voice says, "Goodbye, young elf. May thee have good luck." The mist then grows heavy with the fall of night. You find the foot of the mountain and locate a dark opening in the rock. Looking inside, you see nothing, but you hear sounds coming from the rear of the cave. Discovering a tunnel leading from the cave, you follow the sounds. Creeping slowly and carefully down the tunnel, for a long time you find yourself at the entrance of a large room. Tied up the room are elves, halflings, and humans, all of whom look quite angry and quite unhappy. Your heart jumps with excitement when you recognize 3 of the elves from your village. They were among the last party to try to reach the land beyond the mountains. If you could free these prisoners, you would have help with your mission. It would not be easy. Squatting around a meager fire are 4 goblins cooking their dinner. Their short swords lie within easy reach. "Well, this bunch should last a while," rasps one goblin gruffly. "Maybe. Don't last long down here," says another. "Think it's the cold and dark that kills them off." "Nay, it's the rotten food," says the third goblin. You draw the sword of Magnus and leap into the circle of prisoners and goblins. The magic blade hums and crackles. The goblins look up, their hands and faces smeared with grease from their meal. They stumble to their feet in confusion, trying to reach for their weapons. Not giving them a chance, you swing the magical blade. 2 goblins are struck down almost immediately. The remaining 2 reach for their swords, but their shoddy blades are much shorter than your sword of Magus. Metal clashes on metal, and one goblin's blade shatters, breaking at the hilt. Before it can grab another weapon, you run it through. The last goblin stares at its fallen friend, pulling its nasty green lips back in a snarl of hatred. It turns and runs from the room, tunnel leading deeper into the mountain, screaming for help. You decide not to follow, but to rescue the prisoners instead. Quickly you use the sword of the Magus to cut the ropes that bind the prisoners. They are overjoyed to be rescued and ask you many, many questions. Speaking quickly, you try to fill them in with what you know. We must destroy this evil. Until we do, the innocent elves, humans, and halflings will continue to be seized by these monsters and forced to work in the mines. We must stop them. If we decide not to try and stop them and simply run away, we will not be safe for long. Whether we want to or not, we must do our best to destroy Shanafara. We cannot help those already trapped in the mountain. They have already lost their will, and it is more important to save the loved ones in the village and those not yet grabbed. None of you are obligated to go on this mission with me. You are free to try to leave this mountain. Speak now if you wish to leave. The firelight shines on the faces of the rescued prisoners. One of the elves from your village steps forward. "Landon, you can count on us. We've had some dreadful times since we were captured. We know what will happen if the evil of the mountain is not stopped. We're with you." "Thank you, Desval. Come then. This place is quite dangerous. We must leave quickly, Let us equip ourselves as best as we can. Searching the dead goblins, in addition to their swords, you find daggers, axes, and spiked clubs. Putting your own dagger and axe in the pile, and distributing the weapons to the group. You're worried that the goblin who escaped may return with reinforcements, so you urge everyone to arm themselves quickly. Your party files silently out of the room, with you in the lead. Reaching the entrance to the cave and looking out, night has fallen. The dome of Shanafar is hidden by clouds. The mushroom forest blocks the river from your view, but you can still hear its quite powerful roar. Stay together, you order. If we are separated, we will never find each other again. Be careful, but be quiet. You and your party enter the mushroom forest. Some of them are normal sized, but most of them tower above your head like gigantic trees. Some are big and flat as tables, and some you have to climb over with great piles of mushroom stalks that lie like the fallen tree trunks of an old forest. Only your keen elven sight allows you to pick your way through this misty place. Near the edge of the forest, Desvel clutches your arm. Look over there, Landon. Do you see it? You look in the direction he pointed, but see nothing. It was there, a large animal lying on top of a mushroom, stammers Desvel. Well, it's not there now. Maybe you saw a shadow, you suggest? No, I tell you I did see an animal. It was looking directly at me. 1 minute, it was there, and the next, simply gone. The others in your party cluster around you. Oh, I see it, says the halfling, pointing at your left. You turn and see a large cat-like animal lounging on top of a mushroom. As you start toward it, it vanishes before your very eyes. There's a gasp of fear and a wonder from your party. Look, look, look at it. It's a blinking lynx, cries Desvel. The animal appears in front of you, lying lazily on top of the mushrooms. The Blinklix begins to groom his silvery gold-spotted pelt as your party continues to draw closer. You draw your weapons, ready to attack. The Link doesn't react. He simply yawns and continues to groom his fur. However, his brilliant golden eyes never leave you. You look a bit silly, you know, says the Lynx. I'm not the least bit hungry. Why don't you put away your weapons? However, if you're hungry and plan on eating me, then I'm afraid I must decline that honor. The lynx blinks out and disappears. No, we don't want to eat you. We just want to get across the river. Please come back, you yell. The lynx blinks back and says, In that case, maybe I'll stick around. This could be quite entertaining. He stretches lazily on the mushroom cap, then leaps to the ground beside you. It gets rather boring round here. There's absolutely no one to talk to except those mangy monsters. I have had great fun with them, blinking in and out. It drives them crazy. But you know, even that gets old after a while. Who are you, and what are you doing here? You ask the giant cat. Silly elf. Anyone can see I'm the most noble and handsome of Blinklinxes, in the prime of my life. My name is Nigel. Believe me, I would like to be anywhere but here. You've heard that curiosity killed the cat? Unfortunately, that goes for Blinklinxes too. Even smart and intelligent ones like myself. One day I was out strolling in the mountains when I came on an orc. Now, orc taste perfectly foul. They have filthy personal habits. But I could never lower myself to eat one. But it was great fun leaping about, roaring and frightening them all half to death. Orcs are so entertaining in that regard. They have absolutely no sense of humor. Only this time, it didn't quite work out the way I'd planned. I followed the orcs into a cave, and the next thing I know, I was sliding down an ice chute. My fur got all messed up. I ended up by an enchanted door that said to me, What's the matter, kitten? Lost your mittens? Now don't begin to cry. And then that wretched door laughed, and laughed and laughed at me. I admitted I must have been a bit flustered from it, but I certainly wasn't crying. Finally, the door got tired of teasing me and opened, saying, Run along, little kitten. Try to find your mittens in here. It's terrible being in here, though. It's full of monsters. There are elves, halflings, and humans, too, but after a week, they just act like zombies and undead. I'd give anything for a nice, juicy rabbit, Nigel says wistfully. If I ever get out of here, I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with soap for a week to get rid of the taste of mushrooms and monsters. Nigel blinks in and out nervously and says, I'm sure there's a way out of here if you only could get across that river. If I help you, will you let me out too? You answer Nigel quickly before he disappears again. I'm sure you'll be a great help to our party, Nigel. Tell me, do you know how the monsters get across the river? Oh, there's a great guarded bridge, he replies. You have to know all sorts of complicated passwords. The monsters examine everyone very, very carefully, and no prisoners are ever allowed to cross it. Why do the monsters guard it so heavily? Oh, it's because of all those silly diamonds in the ice pillar, the link says. The monsters store all the diamonds at the prisoner's mine at the base of the pillar. There's simply heaps and heaps of them. I can't for the life of me understand all the fuss about diamonds. You can't even eat them. How many monsters guard the bridge? Well, except for the monsters guarding the prisoners, every monster in the mountain is over there at night. Oh, there's also a massive white dragon. I don't think it ever sleeps. I just know that there has to be a way across the river, but that's your job. Figure it out. Well, let's all go to the river and have a look, you say. Then we'll try to figure out a way to cross it. Walking in single file, you head toward the river. The sound of rushing water grows larger and louder as you pass your way through the mushroom forest. Standing again at the bank of the river, you watch the murky water churn past. Large chunks of ice spin and bob around the current. You talk with your friends about the best way to cross the river. Vote 1 if you're going to try to swim to the other side of the icy floored river. Vote 2 if you're going to try to leap from the massive ice floe to massive ice floe until you reach the other side. And vote 3 if you choose to try to build a raft from the mushrooms and float to the other side. So that's 1 if you're going to swim, 2 if you're going to try and jump from ice to ice, and 3 if you're going to try and build a boat. You all have a wonderful and blessed day, and let's see what happens next week.